everybody, how's it going? It is Max with BuzzTox here, and I am back with the premiere episode of Westworld Season 4. We've been waiting a very long time, and I gotta say, it did not disappoint. As somebody who says the first season of Westworld is the best season of television I have ever seen, Season 2 of Westworld was pretty great. Season 3, I felt like slowly got worse. I'm happy to say that this episode brought me back, and it brought me back in a way that completely revitalized my excitement for this franchise, and I think primarily it's because it returned to its roots. And because, as we learn as the episode goes on, this is 7 years later. They essentially created another falsified timeline. What happened in that 7 years? Who are we following? Why does the world look so different than when we last saw it? And it's about the audience kind of piecing it together, and it's that mystery that we had with the first season, the first episode of Westworld, where Delores wakes up, goes about her day. An event happens. She wakes up again. So all in all, this episode was a return to form. The score was amazing. I absolutely loved it. And first, I want to talk about Delores. But as of now, this is not Delores. This is Christina. And we follow Christina as she lives her mundane life in modern society. But this life is literally copied and pasted of Delores' life as the rancher's daughter. But this is a modern twist to Delores as a character. We get a lot of really cool callbacks. Her friend is asking Christina, white or black? White shoes or black shoes? This Delores character chooses the white shoes. We see a world that is all too perfect. And Christina continues her really mundane job as a writer, and she can't seem to find any form of success within her career. That also spans to her dating life. And it all really boils down to show the audience member that Christina is living a life that is not fulfilling. She feels like she's in a small world and she wants to explore. She wants to see what's outside. She believes that there's something greater for everyone. This is the epitome of Delores in Season 1. It is the exact same character, just imposed on a modern world. We even see that she's presented with the symbol of the mace. Much like in Season 1, we follow Delores jump through multiple timelines to find her own center of self, to find consciousness. And I believe we're going to see the equivalent type of storyline with this Christina character. But that feeds into the main conflict of the show. Instead of Arnold being the voice that she is hearing, it is a phone call, and it's a man who is upset with his story and how his life ended up. And he keeps harassing Christina about it, and she doesn't understand. And just like Season 1, she gets attacked. And who comes to save the day but Teddy? I think it's Teddy. So all these things are completely mimicked, and I think we're going to see a similar thing. In the first season, Delores takes that moment and breaks her core code by pulling the trigger and killing the host. And this moment is going to happen again, and she may break her core drives if they're going to tell a story of Delores once again breaking consciousness. Or they're going to go another route, and it's going to be a discovery of how Delores is a storyteller. We hear a lot of talk about the tower and how Delores is pulling the strings. And I really think it's Charlotte. She had 7 years. Charlotte has the same module as Delores. She was Delores, but she was changed, and she's more of a Wyatt character. And she now sits atop this spire that she built. And I think for some reason and some motivation, she has built this modern world as a park to discover the human condition or some type of secret embedded in the park. And I think it lies with Delores. Charlotte wants to see Delores' core AI system and how it operates to try and get something from it. It makes sense to me that this guy is calling her the storyteller, that she's writing stories, because you only live as long as the last person who remembers you. And that's what Season 2 dealt with. If you remembered somebody, you can recreate them. And Delores was the first host. She has more park data in her mind than any other host. If this is truly a park, and all of these people are hosts, then they are all a fabrication of Delores' memory. Another take on Delores I have is this guy who's harassing her and keeps calling her and claims that she is writing his story. He gives me young William vibes. And I'm getting a little excited. And the reason is because I have a video called The Door to Delores Theory. And I highly recommend you check it out right after this video. And if my thoughts are true, then this opens up my theory. Long story short, William was corrupted by the park because everything he found that was real existed in the love he had for Delores. And then he found out that that in itself wasn't real, therefore nothing has any meaning. And it turned him into this evil man that people see him as. The reality is the evil that he created was inflicting suffering on Delores so she could be more real. When the hosts suffer, they are more real. So he had to be this black hat evil bad guy to feel the only love that he ever had. It ended with his wife killing herself, and it ended with him killing his own daughter in the park. Now we have this man who kills himself and is harassing Delores or Christina daily by messing up his story, by giving him a path that leads to the deepest depression, that it's a life that he does not want to lead. And that is literally what Delores did to William. She put him on the path of dissatisfaction with life because everything he ever wanted was Delores and she wasn't real. So I gotta say, with this guy, I see a huge connection where this version of Delores, Christina, is being harassed by a younger William who knows that his adventure with her corrupted his whole life and well-being, and that is William. It's also nice we get to see Teddy, and I guarantee in the second episode they will end up reconnecting in a way similar to her dropping the jar of jam, and they might rekindle a romance, and Christina is going to get that excitement again to go on an adventure outside of the mundane life that she has. But that being said, with all that data, that kind of goes into William's motivation. I could be wrong, but at this point I see William as kind of an extension of Charlotte. He is taking hosts that are the same likeness as other hosts that we've seen in previous seasons and putting hits out on Maeve and on Caleb. He also ended up taking what looked like a giant databank. So where Rehoboam was a simulation, William is trying to get data that was smuggled there and stored there years ago. I don't know if it's Teresa from season 1 who took park data and left, but either way, data is king. If you have the simulation software of Rehoboam, or you have the book from The Door in season 2 that is the code of a human, you can use that data and leverage it to create or simulate anything you could possibly want. So we'll see where the show decides to go with that. But I think all in all, they kind of ended up in a place that they hinted at in season 1. In season 1, they talked about Wyatt as a villain, and he ended up finding the center of the maze, and he built a house, and he built a bunch of walls around so only he could find the center of the maze. That's happened. It looks like it's Charlotte. Charlotte is the Delores module. Delores was Wyatt. She was corrupted. And now it seems like she built a spire where she now has the control of consciousness. And we have Christina here living in this simulation. Now, as of Caleb and Maeve, I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure that they're in the real world. And their threat is with William and Charlotte. And Charlotte is running this park that Christina is stuck in. The only other thing that I did find interesting was William dealing with the cartel and essentially taking over the data banks that he wanted. This guy essentially saw a bunch of flies and then went mad. In terms of flies, they're an interesting symbolism. For humans, flies mean decay and death. Whereas for the hosts, it actually means being alive and achieving consciousness. Think about it. If you're living and you die and you decay, the flies come. If you're a host, they fly over top of you and you can't kill them or you don't move. You have the classic shot of the fly on the eye and the hosts don't move. But as soon as the hosts react to the fly, then they slowly start to step towards the center of their own maze. But what we see is this guy does exactly what William wants. So whether he was killed and turned into a host, that has been done before, or maybe using some technology or some pills that they talk about in this show, maybe he was coerced to do something that he didn't want to do. Literally in real life, there's a drug that you can give somebody and you can tell them what to do and they will do it. So we will see how this develops. But all we know right now is that William is on the move and he wants to achieve something. But that is my initial reaction and review for Westworld Season 4, Episode 1. Big fan. I thought it was absolutely awesome. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.